Hello students, I am here with the part 2 from the lesson Nutrition in Plants of class 7th. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you that I have discussed about nutrition, nutrients, then about autotrophic mode of nutrition. In this we have discussed about photosynthesis and the structure of stomata. So today I'll tell you about other modes of nutrition in plants. Okay, till now we have studied about the nutrition in green plants. Okay, now we are going to study the next mode of nutrition, that is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode, what is the meaning of the word heterotroph? First let's understand. So yesterday also I have told you that what is the mode of what is the meaning of heterotrophic mode. So here today again I am going to tell you that heterotrophic is a long word which is made up of two words, hetero and trophic. Now this hetero means other and trophic means to gain. Okay, so there is another mode of nutrition in which the organisms depends upon the plant and its product. Okay, so they are not going to take up energy, they are not going to make their food on their own, they are dependent on others. So they are dependent, they depend on others. Fine. Now let's start. There are heterotrophic mode in plants. Even animals are also they are known as heterotrophs, but plants are also called heterotrophs. So you should understand the meaning of the word heterotroph also. So heterotroph are all those organisms which gain their nutrition by heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So heterotrophs are those organisms which gains their nutrition using heterotrophic mode. Okay, so heterotrophs are organisms and heterotrophic is the mode of nutrition from which they are going to gain their nutrition. Now we have what is the need of this heterotrophic mode of nutrition? Since there are two types of plants, one is green plants, okay, which are taking autotrophic mode of nutrition, and then there are non-green plants. Now non-green plants such as mushrooms, fungi are there which are non-green. Okay, so these non-green plants also require nutrition, they also require nutrition for living, so they are going to gain their nutrition from some other ways. So these some other ways will come under heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So some other ways of nutrition, in this we are going to first discuss about parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, now what are parasites? Now children, if you are not able to see it clearly, you can tilt your screen and so that the pictures are clear to you all. So I would like to discuss the first mode of nutrition, that is parasitic mode of nutrition. Now what are parasites? First let's understand, or what is the meaning of parasitic plant. So parasites, these are the plants which do not have chlorophyll and cannot prepare their own food. Okay, so they can prepare their own food. We cannot say that all these parasites do not have chlorophyll. They have, but they are very less in amount. So whatever food which is being prepared by them, it's not sufficient for them to gain nutrition. So what they are doing to gain more and more nutrition, they are dependent on other plants. Okay, they are dependent on other plants, or they are dependent on trees, big trees. So here you can see these three pictures where you could see very clearly that a big tree is there on which these network like structures you could see. Okay, so these network like structures, these are called parasitic plants. Okay, so they gain their nutrition from the already prepared food, that is they are dependent on other host. Okay, now let's see. So they get their food from other plants, that is called host. Okay, now we have to understand two words here, host and parasite. Now host means the plant on which these parasites live. Okay, both of them are living. Fine, host is also living and parasite is also living. In animals also there are parasites, such as a mosquito is a parasite in which mosquito lives on our blood. Okay, They live on the human beings or animals blood. Okay, so these hosts are also the living plants. They are big trees and they can prepare their own food. These hosts can prepare their own food, and these parasites live on these host, so that they are not able to make their own complete food, so they are dependent on the host so that they could gain the proper nutrition. One such example of parasitic plant is amarbel or kaskata. Okay, so this kaskata is a parasitic plant which is gaining their nutrition from other plant, or it is known as host. Okay, so whatever organism, whatever plants they are gaining their nutrition from host, they are known as parasitic plants, and the mode of nutrition will be known as parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, now we go on to the next heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is the insectivorous plants, the nutrition which is gained from by the insectivorous plants. Now have you all heard the word parasitic plant, insectivorous plants? I mean insectivorous, see these are the examples of insectivorous plants. Okay, so this is the photograph of pitcher plant. Okay, so here you can see that these plant eats insect. So this second picture is showing you that some insects are trapped inside these pitcher like structure. Okay, so here some insects are trapped, so this is covered. Okay, now what happens as soon see, this is a lid kind of thing. Okay, and this is a pitcher like structure. Okay, pitcher like structure means it is like a vessel, small vessel or small glass like structure which has a lid over it. Now what happens, this lid is opened. As soon as the insect sits inside this glass like structure, what is happening, they get some signal and the lid is closed. And as soon as the lid is closed, this insect inside, which is trapped inside this pitcher like structure, so it is going to die and it is going to give nutrition. Now why there is a need of gaining such kind of nutrition by the plants? So the plants also eat insect. So these are insectivorous plants which eats insects. So in the plants which feed on insect, example pitcher plant, whose picture you could see here, the leaves of pitcher plant is modified into a pitcher like structure. Okay, it is modified into a pitcher like structure. The end of the pitcher has a lid which open and closes. As I have told you that once the insects sit inside this plant, or even on the lid also, you can, as you could see here, if the insect is sitting inside this lid, it is going to close. When an insect enters the pitcher, the lid closes. The insect is then digested by the digestive juice inside this pitcher. Okay, so this is how pitcher plant gains nutrition. This is also a kind of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. See, these are also the green plants, they could also prepare their own food, but these insectivorous plants nutrition is not complete. Okay, so they cannot gain nutrition only from photosynthesis, so they require to eat insects. Okay, so they require to eat insect. From insect they are going to gain nitrogen. Okay, now what is the role of this nitrogen? This nitrogen is a very essential component of food for plants. Okay, if plants require this nitrogen, they require this nitrogen to grow. Now from where is this nitrogen gained? This nitrogen is gained either from the soil, okay, or it is being gained through the insects. Now insect also has nitrogen in their wings. So once insect is entering inside this, so their exoskeleton, their wings has nitrogen in it. So this nitrogen is essential for these plants, so it is gained by eating insect. Where the plants which could not eat insect, they have some other mode. I'll tell you later how is that nitrogen entering inside the plant. So, okay, now we have understood that insect is eaten up by these insectivorous plants. Okay, and insects, why insects? Because they have to gain nitrogen. Fine. So this is how these insectivorous plants eat these insects and gain nutrition, because their photosynthesis is not completely giving them nutrition. Fine. Now we go on to the next mode of nutrition, that is saprophytic mode of nutrition or saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Now what are these? This picture is showing you the picture of fungi. So these fungi are the non-green plants. Okay, so here they cannot do photosynthesis, so there is a need for gaining nutrition. So they gain nutrition from their from the dead and decaying organism, okay. So this saprotrophs are the organisms which these are the plants which do not have chlorophyll and they cannot prepare their own food. So they gain their nutrition from dead and decaying organic matter. For example, mushroom, bread mold, etc. So these are the picture of mushroom, okay, and this is the picture of bread mold where the stale bread is kept and this bread is having bread mold over it. Fine. So this is an example of bread mold and these are the mushrooms. Now let's see why these saprotrophs, how they live on these dead and decaying organisms. Okay, now what happens? They produce digestive juices on dead and decaying organic matter and they convert into a solution and then absorb the nutrition from the solution. So this mushroom is going to they are going to produce the digestive juices and this digestive juices is going to dissolve these dead and decaying matter, and again this is going to give nutrition to the mushrooms or any other fungi which are non-green. Okay, so these are called saprotrophs and the mode of nutrition is called saprophytic or saprotrophic mode of nutrition. So it is known as saprophytic mode of nutrition, or it is also known as saprophytic mode of nutrition. Okay, saprophytic or saprotrophic mode is there and these organisms are called saprotrophs or saprophytes, both are correct. Okay, now let us go on to the next slide, that is symbiotic relationship. Okay, this is another mode of nutrition that is called symbiosis. Okay, so this is called symbiosis. Now what is this symbiosis known as? Fine, now let's go inside this symbiotic mode of nutrition. Some plants live together to share their shelter and nutrients. Okay, so they live together to share their shelter and nutrients. Example, lichens. Now what are these lichens? In lichens, an alga and fungus live together. The fungus provides shelter, water and mineral to this alga, and alga provides food to the fungus, which is prepared by photosynthesis. So here you can see the picture of lichen. Okay, so this is a picture of lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic structure, or you could say that it is going to gain nutrition through symbiosis or symbiotic relationship. Okay, so what is this symbiosis or symbiotic relationship? There are two living organisms. Okay, so there are two living plants which live together. See here in this lichen, one is fungus, another one is algae. Okay, so algae, you know that algae live in water. Okay, so they are green in nature, so they could perform photosynthesis. So algae is going to provide food, okay, through photosynthesis, and fungi, they give water. Fungi give water and they also get shelter. To live. So algae and fungi, they form a new structure called lichen, and lichens show symbiotic relationship. So this is another heterotrophic mode of nutrition where two organisms live together and benefit each other. Okay, for example, here we have given the example of lichen. There are many more examples in animals also where two animals live together for gaining their food and shelter. Here lichens, in lichens two structures are present, algae and fungi. So please remember, lichen is made up of two symbionts, which are one is alga, which gives food, and fungus, it provides water and it gets water and shelter in return. Okay, and some food is also shared with fungus. So this is how symbiotic relationship is seen in the